I am definitely out of frame. Sarah, can you close these doors right here? You got homework to do, right? Okay. Close the door. Close the door. So I got that share. It's on Facebook. I was going to do a free giveaway. Okay, but yeah, so that too smooth. So definitely next time. We definitely will be joined by Esther very soon. And mhm. Is it just gone? Yeah, yeah, for you. You can find snack. You got it. Good morning. I can help you. Don't be something to drink or eat or something. Good morning. Uh-oh. Let's go eat. Food. Either that or go with lunches or cook something for you. You want to go see his dad? Close his door, please. Mm-hmm. You make some. Thank you. Make some. You make some. No. I don't believe so. Okay. And for a lot of you, you see Esther with us. So this is a good opportunity for everybody in the village to get an opportunity to meet everybody in the village. Because some of you don't really know others. And it's just, she's down. She's part of it being that way for a while.
make some.
You said pancakes.
No, you make some. I got corn dogs.
Corn dogs. Okay.
So you make some.
I mean,
Mm,
you know my what you think about it. How can I help you, Wayne?
make some.
Go wake up Kiki. Amy is in the kitchen and she can help you as well. Thank you. So today on the show, close the door, please, behind you. We're going to be going to, that's right, as you can tell from the description, I'm going to be silent Esther. We are going to be reading Esther. Like I said, if you already know me, you already know who I am. First of all, you can introduce myself. You are tuned to the Loud House. We have to change the name of this channel just a little bit. But I really like this channel name. So, I'm not excited to even about it. Anywho, we are going to start doing more interviews, and I'm going to start interviewing those closest to me, those that are part of the village. So I am super excited that our first interview is Esther. We've been like that for a while, 5+ years, and it's probably been a little longer than that. Okay. If there are any more. You can't, but listen. That's gonna be the game. How many times do I get interrupted during the episode? It's probably gonna be this whole setup is thanks to the Loud House production crew team. Shout out to Plug. You know who you are if you help me set up this joint. Highlight to you. Shout out. What's up? Can you give him half of one? Can you feed him something? If that's a no, then go talk to Daddy because he's helping you guys with food right now. Okay? Appreciate it. I hope that's as nicely as possible. Because I'm trying. I try. And my weakness crisis show. Today we are going to talk COVID, mental health, dealing with trauma and bringing awareness to childhood abuse with one of the crew, my little boo, my baby mama, I like to call it. Okay. Godmother to one of my sons, auntie to the rest of them, fourth-time student, author. Some of you are going to get your first introduction to Esther today, and that's cool. A few of you already know her. Every one of us will get to know her even. So that's what just of this whole interview is for everybody to know everybody for us to expose some things and shine some light where there has been hidden, hiding things. I really want to bring awareness and speak to you guys, especially during this time of COVID, because I know that there are some voices that are feeling unheard, and I want to use my platform to get this voice. So Esther is going to be with us shortly in about the next 10 minutes or so to share. So I'm excited. I wish I would be yeah, she's going to be doing this right here. This is her book. I really am wanting her to I wanted her to read the, I guess it's epilogue. I don't know much about books and what the parts and pieces are, but I want her to read the back cover of her book before we get started. So I'll probably introduce her again and have her to read the back cover of her book. It's dropping soon. June 1st. It's crazy. It's right around the corner. I'm so blessed and I'm so excited for her. I'm so excited to be a part of this journey. And I'm excited to have been a part of who encouraged her to get this out. Excited for her book. she decided to have it. So we'll definitely do a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. Why? I mean, I can take it off, but I don't want to take it off.
This is professional.
What? This is chill mood. This your channel? This your vibe? This. Okay, thanks. I didn't want to. Like, I tried and thought about it and all that, but hey, y'all, hey. It's 20. Okay. I'm trying. Here go. Here goes some curls. Oh, and I was going to change my plugs for y'all, like I said in the beginning of the video, but I don't have plugs. I don't have my tools for that in my office. Huh? Hey, you stinky. You stinky poet? Yeah, I think so. I'm going to put my bonnet back on sometime during this interview. So, which y'all already know what it is. And I need a brush. So, again, one more time. Like I said before we get into the interview, we were going to do a giveaway. I'm sorry that y'all can't see that. And close my door. Appreciate it. Talk to your brother. But I just wasn't able to get that part planned out well enough to do the giveaway. But definitely post book interview. Post book release. That will be part of the show. But for now, we are just going to meet Esther. Are you want to come here early? Yeah, that's right. I'm fine. So yeah, that's definitely going to be the move. You probably are going to see the bottle go back on. Yes. It's just terrible. It's hot. It's a lot of hair in my face. But I tried for you guys. Jesus, it's terrible. It's like, okay, it's the first try. Second attempt doing the install. So, especially with the glue, I've always done it glued, so I wanted to try something a little different. And did I shoot the video? I don't know. I'm gonna look and see. Anywho, so yeah, it's Esther. You guys, are you gonna do this right now?
Yeah, I can turn it
Yeah,
on.
she's gonna do this. Please. It's a little warm back here.
Hey guys.
Esther, hey, I have my hand clapping button. Where is that? I don't really know because I don't think this was the original angle.
But it's okay. I'm just
we had. Esther, how are you this morning?
good. How are you?
I'm sorry to have you. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm excited about your book.
Me too.
Yeah. Okay, start the line. So I'll read on the
Hey guys, I'm here with the Loud House.
Hey.
That's Kendall. Tune in on YouTube, and you guys will you guys can like and subscribe. And I guess that's it.
Yeah. Okay. Before we get started. Yay, Esther! Esther's in the building. Yeah. One more time for Esther. I'm excited that you came. I'm excited that you're back. Actually, because you got back here from California.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
So kind of ran off on us a little bit.
I did, but I felt like it was a calling at the same time to go to California.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I like it.
It was beautiful. There was a lot going on out there. And there's a lot of things that I realized about America that I just, that's disappointing. And you might think that America is this, amazing rich country where everybody wants to come to and live. But
And at a free, huh?
yeah, so the land of the free. I think I'm free to wear a hat. I'm free to wear it.
Hey, can you ask Avia to bring me the fan?
But yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's where you think that's where you got majority of your book written at?
That is where I got.
Do you want to fight?
Uh-oh. That is where I got started. That is where I got majority of my fight. I mean, my fight. That's where I got majority of my book written. I started writing it here in Greensboro, but I was going through some things, a lot of things, illness and depression. At the time, I didn't know it was mental illness, and I just couldn't get my book finished.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but when I moved to California, and I was still suffering, I was still going through mentally, and I was like, you know what? I don't have anything else to do. Let me just finish my book, and just focus on that. God gave it to me since 2015 to write, and I just hadn't been able to finish it.
Right. So it's finally finished. Release date?
June 1st. June 1st.
All right, June 1st, and it's releasing. Can you pick it up? Is it releasing what? Paperback, ebook? Tell the people where we can get a copy.
You can get a copy on Amazon. You can get it on Apple Books. You can get it on you can get it on Apple Books, ebooks, Amazon, and Barnes and Nobles, or the closest, or your nearest bookstore. So
is it going to be an ebook as well?
Yes. So you can get it on ebook.
You can get it on Kindle and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's how I like to read books nowadays. Yeah. So I told the people that we're going to be doing a little talking about COVID, mental health, dealing with trauma, and just bringing awareness to childhood abuse.
Okay.
So I got a few statistics, a few stats right here, but I think I'm going to wait to the end to read them. So how old are you?
I am 29.
Wow.
I know.
How long have you been knowing each other?
It's been...
Wow, you know what?
It's gonna be 10 years. It's been 10 years.
It's been 10 years. Wow, you know what? I told the people it's been about 5. I was like, you probably been a little more than that.
That's just half.
But that is crazy. I didn't even realize it was that long.
Yeah.
So
it's been that long.
Yeah.
It just goes by so fast because when I first met you, Kiki was 5, Dalmir was 6, Avia was like 1 or 2, and Isis was 6, and we didn't even have 7, Gay, and Life. So, yeah.
Isis was 6?
No, I mean 6 months.
I was about to say,
she was 6. Yeah. No, Keandra was 6. Isis was 6 months. I remember.
Oh my!
She was still in her walking chair. She was still like Goo Goo Gaga. It was so cute. Yeah.
Right. That was the old days. Okay, so you from the Boogie Down Bronx, right?
I am from Brooklyn.
Born
and raised. Yeah.
Okay. But I remember you telling me a little bit about Haiti. So you wasn't born in Haiti. Okay, you was born in.
I was born in America. I was the first generation in my family, actually. Like, my grandparents were immigrants. My aunts and uncles, my mother, my parents were immigrants, and then I was the first generation.
First generation.
To be born in America. So that's that's something that's really, it's not too much pressure, but it does, because I'm in between both cultures. I've lived in Haiti for the first 4 years of my life. So that was my first language. So that was, it was a little different, but I caught on pretty quick when I came to America. So that was pretty awesome as well.
This is a question that's probably going to come to you, but how did you deal with the transition from, do you remember that, moving from Haiti to America?
I do. I remember it very clearly. And that's something that I explain in my book. I explain about how, some people don't even remember when they were 4 or when they were 3 or when they were 2 or things like that. But I remember a lot of the things that I've been through at those ages, and the transition wasn't too bad. When from Haiti to here, I was with family in Haiti, with my mother's family, and then I moved here and with my grandparents on my mother's side. And at first they were like strangers because I didn't know them, but then after that, they, of course, you start getting used to it. You become, you know,
Settled in nicely.
settled in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sit back. We gonna be here for a minute and set it in. Where's your snack, Esther?
I totally forgot. You know, I was gonna make popcorn, but I forgot to make popcorn.
The kids say you eat pretzel on the hike yesterday.
I did. At first, I was like, maybe I should eat the pretzels. I was like, is there any more chips yet? And they're like, no chips. And I was like, what about these? You guys were hiding pretzels from me. They're like, well, you didn't want to eat that. You wouldn't want to eat that anyway. This is salty. You would have been thirsty.
Exactly. I'm saying you make it down the mountain.
It's not gonna making it down. Well, making it down was hard. Making it up the mountain was hard too. It was like
what Keith said. She said when y'all finally got there, it was just worth it.
It was worth it. It was really worth it because it was like the staircase of death where we had to go.
Is that the name of it?
No, I called it that because when you're looking up from the bottom and it's like you gotta climb those stairs to get to the top. Okay, but when you do get up there, it's worth it. The view is beautiful and just the experience of walking on the rocks and being on the edge, you know, and then we're looking from at the bottom and seeing the hanging rock, actually the cliff.
Yeah, she showed me some pictures of that.
Yeah.
So that was the hanging rock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which part of North Carolina is that in? Just in case I really want to know.
You know
if
what?
You can remember.
Dan something.
Okay.
I don't remember because I was driving with the GPS and somebody told me that it was gonna be it's gonna be 30 minutes to get there and we took a whole hour.
Like an hour, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I was confused.
Hey, but it's in North Carolina.
It is in North Carolina. It is in North Carolina.
Okay. So I know that you're not married, but is that something that you plan on?
I would love to. I would love to. And I did have recently a very close friend of mine who we were, you know, together and he passed away. And that's why I moved back from California. That's what brought me back from California and his funeral and stuff. But I feel like my relationship with Christ has helped me to, you know, as the Bible says, you know, those who mourn, they will be comforted. And I was seeking God's comfort because I was like, you know, God, you know how we were, together, our relationship and things like that. And I had to cry out to God. I had to ask God, like, why did he die? You know, no one can die unless you allow them to. What is the purpose of my grief? And there was a really big purpose behind it. And I just had to praise God for that purpose because, you know, Jesus, he loves us and he knows the plan. So I knew that he was going to die. Even when him and I, you know, even though when I didn't know, he knew that was going to happen. And I had to push forward and I had to, you know, he gave me strength to push forward and to keep me strong and keep pressing on. And it was just, but the grief was so heavy on me. I thought about going back to California and I really wanted to go back because there's so much that I would love to do out there that I want to do. And God just said that, you know what, you're still going to be able to do them. I just need you to be still at this moment and just be still at this moment. And you're going to be able to do all those things that, you know, I said that you were going to do. So I was like, okay, that's awesome. And he's just been helping me heal. And I've just been feeling a lot different lately.
So you did say that you still would like to get married, right?
Yes. And I did not answer the question that I
asked. Oh, that's all right.
But yeah, I pray about it. It's something that I know that I have to move on from what happened to me, the grief that I just went through, and I am moving on from it. And I know that God's gonna bless me with somebody else.
Well, that's good.
You know, it may not be right now, but I know He will in the future.
Right.
And I'm not expecting Him to right now. So,
and there's nothing wrong with that. Be patient, and He will come to you. Be prepared for your husband. And it's good to hear that you still have hope for that, because that's a blessing. My next question is, what was the first thing you learned how to cook? Because Esther, you'll be cooking.
Thank you.
I love it.
The first thing that I learned how to cook, I think was white rice. I have to say no. It has to be between eggs. It has to be eggs. It was eggs.
How old were you?
I was probably 8 or 9, and I had to scramble some eggs real quick for me and my sister. So yeah, but the first actual real food that I learned how to cook was white rice. I think one of my friends in the 3rd grade knew how to cook white rice. She was also Haitian, and she knew how to cook.
3rd grade.
She was in the 3rd grade. We were in the 3rd grade together.
So you were still in Haiti?
I was in New York. Yeah, so I moved from Haiti when I was 4. When I was 3, turning 4. So she knew how to cook white rice, and she was telling me how she used to help her mom. And I complained to my grandma, and I said, Grandma, I want to learn how to cook white rice. And she was like, oh, it's so simple. And then she came over and she taught me how to cook white rice. It was like great.
Your friend?
My
grandmother?
grandma. My grandma.
Okay.
My grandma.
Well, listen, grandma done gave you some recipes or something.
I know.
It be so good. I don't know what be out about my food. Maybe the seasonings or the herbs or something.
Really? But you know, our food is you know that our food is like our culture. Well, our culture is not that different, but our
But
food is
it's a lot. Your culture is a lot in the food too, right?
from the spices we use and from being living on an island. It's,
Right. It's got that flavor in it. You can just tell it's our food. Something about it.
Yeah.
No. Child. Okay, so we already said this. You got a book coming out. It speaks about abuse, physical, emotional, verbal, and sadly sexual abuse. You suffer.
Growing up, I was always that person I was very kind-hearted. You know, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm big on love. I'm hugging. I'm very hugging. I love things like that. I get that from my grandma. She's that kind of person too. I felt like that because after a while, I feel like I lost my identity and I didn't know who I was. So at one point, I felt like in order for me to be friends with someone, or in order for me to, like, I still,
Oh yeah, that's right. I meant to tell you
what?
before.
He told me that before. Hey, you guys on Facebook.
Hey, boo, hey.
I'm gonna have to put this on a pause real quick.
Okay,
I don't know where they are.
Okay.
I gotta move my car real quick.
She'll be back. She will be back to answer questions. So if you guys have any questions that you would like to ask the author, please leave them in the comment section and we'll try to get to them. Sure. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please subscribe. Please share. We are getting to know Esther today. Yes. Are you about to leave and go get lunch? Yeah. All right. So you're not cooking pancakes? Your son wants pancakes. Me, you, your mama, and your cousin too, mama. Yeah. So let me take this phone call as we're on this intermission. Awesome.
Sorry about that, you guys. I had to go move my vehicle. Okay.
So I think I was just asking you the need to please others.
Yeah. So at one point, I felt very apologetic just for being who I was. I felt as though, excuse me, I felt as though like I had to apologize to everyone, or I had to make everybody feel, because I felt like growing up, that's what I had to do. I had to make sure that I did everything right. So that continued to travel on with me as I got older. So with my friends, I had to make sure if I had to please them or make them feel like,
it was okay to be comfortable around you.
Yeah, or do extra things to make them happy. But if I did that, then it made me feel satisfied as well. Like I did something good, and you know what I mean. But yeah,
do you think it worked in your favor, or
no? Because some people it's annoying. Like you don't have to do that, or to some people they'll take advantage of it. They'll take advantage of me or my kindness. Yeah. So that's
really a gift from the Lord.
It really is. So I'm still like that, but I know my limits.
Yeah, you have boundaries.
I know how to put my foot. Yeah, I have boundaries. I know how to put my foot down, and I know how to say no, or I know how to, to discern when someone is walking over me. Yeah.
So, seeing as how Corona is going around, coronavirus.
I know.
I mean, it seems they have stopped large gatherings. Have you come up with any creative ways to advertise your book or for your book tour?
Yes. I was like, God, even before then, I was like, I was trying to set up a book tour. I was trying to do all of these things. And then I was like, God, coronavirus, what am I going to do? And then in my mind, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to leave it there and just put it down. And then I think you brought it up first, the idea of a virtual book tour. And then I was like, well, hopefully coronavirus, because I really wanted to do the whole interact with the, with the people do the book tours, do the book signings and things like that. And I was like, God, I hope, you pray, can you hurry up with this coronavirus? Or maybe I'm gonna have to hurry up, and wait until coronavirus is
What is
over.
there to do?
What is there to do? So I was like, okay. And then it popped up again, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do the virtual book tour. And then I started researching what a virtual book tour is, how to do it, and things like that.
And there was information on it.
There was information because there's a lot of other people who are writing books at this time,
Right.
and they're doing virtual book tours as well. So I was like, okay. So I went on, and I'm just doing some research some more, and I'm figuring out, and God is just dropping ideas inside my mind as well. Yeah. So I'm excited. I prayed about it, and I gave it to God, and I, left it at the altar, and then He just gave me ideas. So I'm excited.
Have you got that scheduled, or is it something that you're still working on?
I have not gotten it fully scheduled. It's something that I am still working on.
All right. Well, make sure you share it with the people.
I will. Just check it out.
Share it
There's going to be events that are going to be being posted, the dates, times, whether it be on my website or whether it be estherginovalley.com or whether it be on my Facebook page. Please not have to put it.
Right. I see a lot of stuff in your stories too. So you like to post on your stories?
I do. I do post on my stories. I post on my personal page as well. If you guys can go follow me on my personal page, Esther Gina Valley, and I post there, and I also page on Queen God is Vindicated. And you guys can also find me on Instagram. I'm also on Instagram as Queen God is Vindicated.
And do you think that social media and social marketing is going to be pivotal in this time of Corona?
It really is. And let me tell you guys, I'm not a social media fanatic. I just do social media because, friends and family are on there and because I like to write and I like to talk. That's really why. But besides that, for the longest time, I have moments where I wouldn't be. I turn off my Facebook and I just wouldn't be on Facebook or Instagram or plug from time to time. So and it just feels good to be away from people, or just to be alone. I'm more like I like to hike. I like to go on nature walks and be out in the not in the wilderness because I can't do animals and bugs, but just.
But speak a little bit to that. Like, where are some places that you find your peace in?
I love to go. I just love to be outside in nature. Like, I put a blanket out outside on the grass and I lay there. I go to the park. I like picnics. I like to be around I don't know how to swim, but I do like to be around big bodies of water. Like, I'll go to the beach. When I was in California, that was one of my favorite go-to spots in the summertime. But I just love nature. I just love to be around.
Is that where you found your zeal to write? If you ever got stagnant, you just go out of nature?
No, going to the beach helps me to just relax and
move south.
Yeah, unplug and just like I'm at the beach, nobody talks to me, kind of thing. I'm just gonna sit here and just sleep. That's really what it is.
So where did you find the space to get your book out?
When I first moved to California, I was homeless. I was living in a homeless shelter because my roommate situation didn't plan out. I got scammed at the beginning when I moved over there, and that was a lesson learned for me. And I had to learn the hard way. So it made it hard for me to find housing in California,
right,
because how they scam people, and it's not cheap. So I just stayed at a shelter. And within that shelter, before I found a job, I just started writing. I had nothing else to do. So I was like, let me see if I can start writing, because the thought came back to me to start writing.
Okay.
And I already had like 2 or 3 paragraphs done.
It was like obedient to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had 2 or 3 chapters done, and I just started writing, and then it just flowed from there.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. I think it was the right time at that moment for me to write it. So.
Right, and that's why I say the obedience came in.
Yeah.
Because if you wouldn't have listened to the Spirit of the Lord till you start writing, you might have missed it.
Yeah.
When did you first speak about your abuse? abuse started?
When I was 8, I was in the 3rd grade.
Okay. What signs of abuse did your caregivers miss?
I mean, as far as my caregivers,
I mean, teachers, anybody that you might have spent time with other than your parents.
I feel as though the way that it happened, because when you're abused, when a child is abused or they're being abused, especially, I feel like my attitude changed.
Okay.
And maybe the people that were around me didn't know the me before, or maybe the people that I grew up with, they thought that, because
maybe it had more to do with the move.
With the move, or maybe because, they were trusting my caregivers, my abusers, to be able to take care of me. And I feel like a lot of times, they didn't see the difference, or they just thought that I was just a child that was misbehaving all the time, that they didn't think that there was an issue. But when you continue on reading, you can tell that some teachers thought there was an issue, but they never came to me or asked me. They said, maybe you should put our therapy or something wrong.
Okay, so they noticed some type of change in your behavior.
Maybe I don't know if the teachers noticed that a change in my behavior, but as far as me being troubled, they noticed that. And I guess, I had to do therapy for a little bit. But I don't know.
Therapy at Mark. So some caregivers would notice that, hey, maybe she's dealing with something that she needs to help with, but never identify that you were being abused. What are your 10-year goals?
What year? We are in 2020. My 10-year goals, which I pray about, definitely writing. I would love my 10-year goals to finally finish with my bachelor's, to move on to my master's, and to get my doctorate. And then I would love to finally, I don't want to wait too long to get married. I just feel like I don't know, even after all that's happened, I don't want to be 35 or 40 waiting to get married. And I talk to God about that all the time. And I talk to God about that all the time. So hopefully get married. I'm praying on buying a house pretty soon. Hopefully by the coming year, that I could buy a house. That's been something that's been on my list of things to do. And before I moved to California, that was my goal. That's what I was looking for. That's what I was
buying a home.
Buying a home. Actually putting either a condo or, like a cute little 2-3 bedroom home. And but I got the call to go to California, so I did that. Right. Finish school, get my doctorate, and just get married, and just complete all of my dreams, everything that of all my life goals that I've had. Because I felt like a lot has been taken from me from the past 21, 22 years of my life. They've been dealing with mental issues, been depression, and just a lot of things like that. And now that I'm finally getting healing and my deliverance and, all of that, I'm moving. Yeah. And I'm sad that it took this long, but, I'd rather.
But God is going to restore all the years that you have wasted or squandered or eaten up by the locusts. Don't concern yourself with that too much. Just be expecting and be prepared for everything that God has for you. Because they were robbed, they were stolen from you, and that's not your fault.
Mm-hmm.
So, my next question is, what's a few things you're believing God for right now? That seems like a few ways. You want to elaborate?
I am believing God for a lot of things, especially like the success of my book, and inspiring people, and just bringing awareness to a lot of things within my book. I'm believing God for just for a lot of things. The one thing that I have been struggling with is finishing school. So that's really one of the main things that I really would love to do. Because over the years, I've been in school, out of school, been in school, out of school. And it hadn't been because, because it was my fault or because I didn't want to.
Right.
It was the mental issues that I've been through. So it's like now it's like, okay, now I know I'm healing in my mind. I'm doing all of this. And I'm like, God, I'm just trying to get through it. I'm just trying to really, like you said, my life goal is just finish going to school and finish, what I'm doing. And
so you believe in God for some big things?
some big things. My business is, um, my business is miracles. That's basically what it is.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. And not just in my life, in other people's lives, because I'm an intercessor and I love to pray and I love to see God do the same thing
for
other people. So I've been praying so much for other people that I know that, they're like, oh my God, I need a miracle, or I need this, or I need that.
Because we know God can do it.
He can do it.
Right.
There is nothing that he cannot do. He cannot but do things but fail and lie. God doesn't do those things at all. So I believe him for so much. And I know, and the most thing about it, the biggest thing about it is to, even if you ask God for something and you expect it, just have a listening ear to know when he says no and when he says yes. Because sometimes we might want and wait, not right now, because that's one of the things I had to learn. God, he loves to spoil us. He loves to give us the desires of our hearts. But sometimes if it is not in his will, or if he see that we cannot handle it, or if it's not something that, like a parent, he would not give you because either you don't deserve it at the time, because you might need to grow some more or mature, or maybe because you might, it's not the time yet for you, or because he just says, I'm not about to give it to you because it's not in my plan. Exactly. So we just got to know the difference of when God says yes, when he says no, and when he says not right now. Because I don't think God would not tell you a maybe. He's just got a yes or no or not right now. He's not going to, keep you strung along. Yeah, God's not going to do that. So that's another thing. So I pray about everything, and I just say God's will be done. So,
and get around some believers, people who have a higher level or similar level of faith as you. Because when you're around a crowd that's just negative all the time, or don't have nothing positive or business to say, that's going to be what you soak in. So I would say that get around with some believers.
Yeah, definitely.
The Bible even says do not forsake the assembly. So
yeah,
get around with some. So we wasn't prepared for snack time today.
We weren't.
I'm struggling over here with my little rail and water.
What? So I wasn't the only one that didn't drink my snack.
I was gonna make a smoothie this morning. Things went to the rail. I just took my CBD and I was like, let me sit down. What is your favorite snack? What are you finding that you're snacking on these days?
I love popcorn. I love popcorn. It's the healthiest snack.
Is that your go-to?
Yeah, I love popcorn, and I love to eat healthy. Because over the years, my weight, because of depression and mental illness, my weight has been up and down. And I try to, and when I come back to being me and I come back to be Esther, I try to work out and be healthy and have, and have these goals for myself. But my favorite snack, I love carrot sticks. I love carrot sticks. I love fruit. Fruit is one of my favorite things. Strawberries, watermelon, all kinds of watermelon, cantaloupe, grapes, just all kinds. So I just love eating those things.
I can't wait till I get our farm coming, but I just see myself just sitting out there eating everything like a rabbit. So you probably be out there enjoying it, have a little picnic.
I will.
What's good and what ain't, probably not ate all the good.
That's good. Yeah. Or tomatoes. I love tomatoes.
Yeah. Either they get ate or they don't.
Yeah.
I gotta find me a little groove with my tomatoes.
Have your own little tomato garden.
So what would you tell your 8-year-old self? What advice, if you could, tell your 8-year-old self, hey, Esther, I need you to work. What would you say?
My 8-year-old self, first of all, what I would tell my 8-year-old self is, because if I could go back to my 8-year-old self someday, I would warn my 8-year-old self. I would be like, look, this is going to happen to you, and you're not going to expect it, and I need you to be extra, extra strong. And I need you to either, to be strong, and I need you to find somebody and talk to somebody about it. But that was kind of hard to do because I felt like when I would try to tell somebody, it just wouldn't work out in my favor.
So you would encourage her.
I would encourage myself, yeah. And then I would warn myself, like, but you know, something's about to happen.
Okay. So 18-year-old Esther, what would you go back and tell her right now?
Change her last name. That's what I would go.
Okay.
I would change my last name back to Valley a lot sooner than I did. That was the one thing. I was like, God, you couldn't tell me that when I turned 18. Like,
that's what I needed.
That's what I needed to do then. But I was so lost mentally that it wasn't something that I was
probably wasn't even want to
go and thinking. Yeah. I wasn't thinking about it. It was just, and that's how my identity was really being stolen from me because of that. And and I would go back and tell myself, change my last name. Really,
18-year-old Esther, change your last
name. Change your last name.
ASAP.
Get that done ASAP.
Right.
Change it back to grandma, grandpa's last name.
What was the hardest? What did you find most difficult in returning to school after your years?
As a child, like even as an 8-year-old.
Yeah, like in your adolescent years. You had to go to school, and you still endured those traumas at home. What was that like, still having to go to school and try to be a child?
It wasn't the same thing anymore. I didn't feel like Esther, like after my abuse. I didn't feel like anything. You know what I mean? I felt like a ghost. Like I didn't feel.
You felt hidden, or you felt exposed, or you felt trapped, or
I felt trapped within myself, and I felt like a plastic bag. Just empty, and I didn't feel anything. There's a part of me, and I feel like the little girl, I hadn't hidden the little girl yet after that, but I didn't know what to do, after that. I didn't know what to do.
So school became what was it like?
School became just my escape from being at home. Not really. At first, it wasn't my escape. At first, it was just a lot of confusion. Like I didn't want to be anywhere. I didn't want to be at home, but I didn't want to be at school. Sometimes I did. Like some of the classes, I enjoyed art class. I enjoyed, just reading books. Sometimes, my mind would wander off and I'd do my own thing while I was in school. After my abuse, and I got a lot of phone calls at home, and I got a lot of, just things that, that seemed off, but,
Didn't make it difficult.
It made it difficult for me to learn.
Right.
Because school wasn't difficult for me before.
Right, but since that trauma, the learning part.
I didn't care. It's like I wasn't, at school. Like I said, my mind I wasn't at school. I felt like a ghost. Like the teacher would talk, but where's she at? Like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Didn't hear what she said.
Yeah, I didn't hear what she was talking about.
Into a trance.
Yeah, right. I was in a trance. I felt like I was in and out of myself. I wasn't there, and I had to suffer with that, similar with that for a very long time.
Right, and that speaks a lot with your mental health, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. As you were going through that trauma, how did you know God was still with you? Did you know God was still with you?
As a child? No. It didn't take until I was writing the book. But I mean, I've had many instances in my life as a child where I've encountered either a divine being, divine presence in my life, as having visions as a child or seeing things.
It's very prophetic when you tell me those things. Yeah.
And there's a part in my book where I talk about seeing an angel, and I talk about what the angel. I think I was about 12 years old when I saw the angel, and I told an adult, and I saw the angel, and it was like the room was completely dark, and it was a glow of light, and she was standing there, and she sounded like a woman, and she was standing there. She was just prophesying to me, telling me that things are going to change, things are going to be better, and I had never thought about it until I was writing my book. Like, wait, wow, And things did get better after that angel spoke to me. Yeah, and after I had that encounter. And I was like, wow, okay. And I was like, wow. And that just showed me how God was with me throughout my childhood.
So that was about, how old were you when you had that encounter?
I think I was like 12, 11 or 12 years old.
Did anything change in your life immediately after that encounter? Did school change?
School did change. My grades.
Did your parents change?
Yeah. I mean, my parents, they became they became occupied.
Okay.
Their minds were not focused on, they were distracted off of me. They were doing other things. And school got better. I didn't have to stay up late at night to have my homework checked to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. No reason. I didn't.
You stopped being tortured.
It felt like I stopped being tortured, and I was able to take a deep breath.
What about the eggshells? Were you able to not have to walk on eggshells?
No, the eggshells were still there because I felt uncomfortable in my own body. That's
not
around
just
the
at
time.
home, but just in your body.
Well, at home, I walked on eggshells. At other places, like my mom would say, you're the opposite child. Like when I was out, around that time, around 12-ish, I was a little calmer. I started maturing. I grew up. I matured. So a lot of that stuff was, I knew that it was different. School became different. Like I said, things changed. I became, I started getting back on the honor roll. I started, being able to study and pay attention in class more and focus more. And I think that was the issue with me after I got abused. I wasn't able to be myself.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and then that was really much it. The things did get a little bit better. They did get better.
Well, that's good. I'm glad God showed you that He was with you, because when you're going through traumatic things like that, you wonder, who sees me, who hears me, is there anybody here that loves me enough? Mm-hmm. God is always there. He is ever present. So that's amazing. What would you say some of your strengths and weaknesses are?
Like I said, always being extra nice, always being extra kind, wearing my heart on my sleeve. I feel like that's one of my strengths, being very compassionate, and loving. I love people. I don't like seeing people hurt, or I don't like seeing people, uncomfortable. I want to see people happy. And that's one of the things where, if I see somebody uncomfortable or happy, I'm a giver. I love to give and things like that. I love to hug, and I love to give advice or make sure everybody's okay, before I'm even okay. So, yeah. So at the same time, it was,
would you call that a strength or a weakness, though? Kind of like.
It's a strength and a weakness, because I would say it's a weakness also because I remember one of my pastors said that the devil would use your compassion to hurt you, because sometimes, like I said, I had to learn how to discern when people were walking all over me, or when they would use my compassion as a weakness, my strength as a weakness. People would do that. They will do that. Like, oh, she's nice, you can just go ask her, or you can just walk all over her. Things like that. But it's actually a gift. It really is. Yeah, it really is a gift to be compassionate and things like that.
But it takes that, like you said, that discerning to know when you're being manipulated and when this is someone who I really need to connect with. Mm-hmm. So would you say that your strengths and weaknesses have changed since having a relationship with Christ?
It really has. It has changed a lot. Like, I thank God every single day for picking me up where I was and bringing me back into the church and bringing me back into His house. But this time I was stronger. I was better. And I was more prepared. Not just more prepared, but I feel like I had been through so much that I was looking for that. Like, there was a void, that living water. Like, I was so hungry, I was so thirsty, and I was looking for it. And when I found it, it was like, hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. And when I got baptized when I was 16, so now that I'm, how old was I, 22? I was like, God, I needed this, and I needed this. I felt like it was different, my relationship with Christ. I mean, when I got baptized, you get baptized, you try to do the right thing, and they talk to you about things, and then, but my life in the world wasn't what the journey, the valley that I had to go through wasn't what I expected it to be. You know what I mean? You never expect to go through stuff like that. And then after you get on the other side, and it's like, and then you encounter God. That's the part that I was trying to say. I mean, I had encountered, like I said, divine beings. Like I had to encounter angels or whatever. I had those divine moments. But when I actually encountered the Holy Spirit, encountered God, now that was really the part where, you know, that I was like, yeah, my creator is here. And people started prophesying to me and telling me about, you know, the hurt and the pain that I've gone through and what God is about to do in my life.
Things God would know.
Only God things that God would know. And I was like, you know what, God, you are amazing. I thank you. And then I started getting into my word and things just started, you know, and then God started putting, like, you know, started putting the full armor of God on me. I started becoming strong. He started to show me how to use my compassion for his kingdom and how to discern when people were walking all over me and how to use the word to fight and, you know, and then he started healing me from my childhood.
I was gonna say, did he start ever pulling your pieces back together?
Yeah. that hurt. But then I still, like I said, I should have changed my last name when I was 18 because that was a strain on me. That was definitely a huge strain on my mental state and it just, you know, but you know what, I had to learn a lot. I still thank God. I said, you know what, God, I don't doubt, you know, anything that you've done, anything that you're doing, and anything that you're going to do, because you sit high on the throne. You know,
right?
You knew me. Yeah, you know the plans. You created me. So I don't. You know how many hairs I have on my head. So I don't.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? That part, right? Like, you know, all this stuff. So I was like, hey, I just did it, you know. But yeah,
and that's the key. Like I think for me, people will ask me all the time, how do you be so laid back, nonchalant, chill? You know, you really don't let a lot get to you. And I pray about a lot. You know, I give a lot to God. You know, even if you will come to me and make me want to feel like choking you or slapping you, I'm not, because I know that that's not what God would want me to do. It's a bigger purpose than for me to do just to react like that. You know, I'm a fighter. I always want to fight when I feel confronted or if I ever feel used or anything like that. But God showed me that I'm supposed to fight in a different way. So, like, I understand that when you get that revelation from Christ, you know, He's going to change everything around. He's going to tell you, you need to, you know, repent, turn from those ways which you are accustomed to, and, you know, look to this. So I think that's the way to do it. Yeah, that's key. That's key. And for strengths and weaknesses, I think for me it was better after I, you know, developed a relationship with Christ. I started exploring my weaknesses. I was like, okay, because I was ashamed of them for a while, and I really found out that in my weakness, God is strong. You know, like even when we dealing with this GD thing, I be feeling so defeated at times. But you know, I'm like, God, you got a plan for this, because I wouldn't be this determined.
Right, like my school, like I've been in school. I mean, I couldn't be in school for the first 4 years. I couldn't go back to college because of financial issues. When I finally got back to college when I was 23, it took me about 4 years to get my associates. Like, it's just that those kind of things, you know, we gotta find like what is pinning us down and why can't we get to the next level? What's holding us back? You know what I mean? So that's another thing I had to do. I had to heal in order for me to move.
And I think in that healing comes deliverance, because you leave a lot of stuff behind, you deal with a lot of trauma, you deal with a lot of baggage, and that is a form of deliverance. So we all need that constantly. Would you call yourself a survivor or a victim? Why?
I used to call myself a victim. And I feel like it sounds like, I don't know what's going on. Water? Yeah, I think that's what it is. I didn't drink any coffee this morning. I used to see myself as a victim. And I used to walk around trying to find somebody to tell my story to. And it always I would always share my story with someone, but I felt like nobody was listening. You know what I mean? So
probably because you think from the place that you were sharing it from. Like from that victim place.
From that maybe. Yeah. And some people just say sorry that happened to you, keep it pushing. You know what I mean? And deep down inside, I feel like I was probably trying to find healing. And I was trying to find healing. And it wouldn't. It just it just wouldn't come. So I just at that
Was
time
there a shift in your mindset from victim to survivor?
I don't even see myself as a survivor. I wouldn't
Okay.
use survivor as the word.
Okay.
I would say overcomer, but even that, overcomer, even that word, I feel like I've overcame a lot. You know what I mean? And I guess survived through a lot too. But I could say I am a survivor and I'm an overcomer. But what's the word I'm looking for? What is the word I'm looking for?
He's gonna bring it to you.
Yeah, he will. It's like, what's the word? It just, I'm a conqueror. Like, the devil really thought that,
He's gonna take you out.
right, like, from it when you, excuse me, from the beginning, when you start reading my book, you can see how my life has been affected by, from this time of conception, you know what I mean? How my life has been affected, and I think about other people that, that's probably been through that kind of trauma, or, or people that have that similar stories as me.
Right.
Excuse me. But I just feel as though that I'm a conqueror. It's bigger than me. You know what I mean? After a while, it came from victim to survivor to overcomer to conqueror because now I feel like I'm not just conquering my past, I'm conquering for other people as well. You know what I mean? I'm a fighter, I'm a warrior. Because it came from that. Now it's like it's not about me anymore. Right? You know what I mean? It's bigger than me. So
there's purpose to this.
Yeah, there's purpose to this thing. So and I feel like and it's not just I'm not just complaining about something bad happened to me as a child, or I'm not playing the victim card. This is serious. You know what I mean? The Bible says we fight not against flesh and blood, but against the principalities.
Children are under attack.
Children are under attack, and it's not about us, and it's not even about. And it's about us, but it's also about the predators out there. What are they going through? What they've been through? What kind of healing? Right. What kind of healing that they need?
Yeah, that's key.
So, and it's
they're
like,
struggling too.
Yeah, they're struggling. You know what I mean? They say hurt people hurt people.
Right.
So
it's
kind of like where I'm victimized because. And I've had instances where I've hurt other people.
And I was going to ask that, so I'm kind of glad this question that led to that. Did you ever feel like at any point you were now the victimizer or the aggressor?
I can't say I was never. I wouldn't call it a bully or the aggressor, but I can say I was curious. I became curious after it was done to me. Yeah. So I could say that, but I wouldn't call it a bully or aggressor because in my mind it didn't go that far. But I could say that I was.
It definitely was an open doorway.
Yeah.
For the thoughts and things.
Yeah. And that's another way where I was like, I know that I was living with that one because it could have gone way worse than that. Yeah. You know what I mean? The Lord had to be with me on that part. But
and He was always with you as He has proven to you time.
Yeah, He's always been with me. Yeah. I just from the beginning.
It makes you feel so warm.
It does. Yeah. It just says thank you, Jesus. Right. Like, and when you think about it, sometimes the devil tries to play with your mind like that too. Mm-hmm. And that's why we have to be mindful with what we say and how we think and
how we say it. That's key.
And the way that our minds think, because you would think that because of what I've been through, people think that because of what people go through, sometimes it's a punishment, or sometimes you look at somebody, when you think of somebody that dies at a young age, like a little kid or something dies at a young age, and you'll be like, oh, they get to live their life. But you got to look behind the reason why. You got to go deeper than that. Like Job didn't just go through that because. Right. In man's eyes, they probably see it. That's why his wife was like, look at your God. Look what he's doing to you. That's what man said. Right. He had to rebuke his own wife. But in God's eyes, his plan was to show the devil, was to show the enemy.
Make Job greater.
Right. To make him greater and to also, to make himself greater too, because to show the enemy that, this is my son, this is my son, this is my child. You're not about to think you can, but then that's what he tried to show the devil, that he had control. And that's how I see it. And that's what we need to know, that God has control. Because if the devil knows that God has control, he will play with our minds and make us think that make us think what he wants us to think.
Right.
He will make us think that he wants us to think that he has control, that God doesn't have that kind of control. That's why he got kicked out of heaven in the first place, because he tried to overpower God, and that's what he still tries to do with us.
So yeah, tries to convince us.
To convince us otherwise. That's what he did to Eve. He convinced her to do the opposite of what God told him.
Right. He made her feel some type of way.
Yeah.
And question her identity.
Yeah.
Was there any one thing or person that helped you in your recovery or healing?
Besides Jesus, you, of course. You've been my friend through, since I've gotten saved. You've been there. We talked about God a lot. You see my transformation.
I do.
You've seen it. You've seen where I was and where I am now. Just by talking to you and things like that. Going to church, the word, hearing other people's stories. Pretty much, but all through and through, the Lord has really been, I've been his Enoch. Like he's led me. He's led me. He's been walking with me. And someone told me that, and like, God, you're like Enoch. God's been walking with you this whole time. He said he's been walking side by side with you, and I felt it. God was like, me and you sitting there. He was my best friend. Like, at one point, I didn't know. I didn't know he's been there for me, and and I'm glad that he has. Like, he's been that for me. When I first met you, I knew that God was always with you. I could just see that on you. But I could also see on you that you were hidden. I could also see that there was something hiding you from feeling the presence of God too. So for me, I knew that God had sent you in my path, and I knew what I needed to do because he had shown me before. So I'm excited to see what God has done in your life, and I'm excited to be witness to that because you were a very hurt little girl. Like when I first met you, and it hurt me to see that because you were working so hard, Esther. I mean, you had 2 jobs, going to school, and taking care of house and home, and you wasn't really enjoying any of it. You wasn't really like seeing what God had done for you, seeing the blessings that God had. I just wanted God to remove the veil, and so you could see him and what he was doing for you because it was amazing. And I'm thankful that God was with you, honestly, because the trauma that you tell me about, I'm like, it's nothing but God. I think that's why I've been here so long. Like, I've moved to different areas. Like, after I left home, I moved to Maryland, and I moved here. But I'm stuck here, and I love it here. And it's just been that. I wasn't led to for it to come here for no reason. That part. Especially, Bible Belt and all that stuff. The holiness that's around here and this kind of environment. So yeah. So I want to know if we kind of talk a little bit about mental illness. It's mental health awareness month. A lot of people I know probably now during Corona are really, really probably dealing with mental health issues. Quarantine, things are probably coming up. You have fear, just the unknown. So, when did you first realize you had mental health issues or problem with the mental health? Excuse me. I'm gonna move this. I think I'm gonna move this. I just feel like okay. Tickling it, bro. Yeah, like I realized after I got like 13-ish, I realized something was wrong with me. And I wasn't sure what it was. And I started praying on it. And I was like, God, like, why do I felt stupid, like not stupid, but I don't know, I felt like I was having inner outer body experiences, and I just felt like my mind wasn't there, and I felt so troubled. You kept telling me, like, I feel like my mind is being taken. Right. And like my mind, like I felt like my mind was being taken from me. One minute I was myself, and another minute I couldn't be myself. You know what I mean? Another minute I felt like somebody was taking a knife and stabbing my brain, stabbing my mind, and things like that. So I was just praying, and I was like, God, I don't know what this is. And then at one point, it'll get better, or I'll forget about it. You know what I mean? And then later on, it'll happen again, and then I'll get just so messed up in my mind, like I can't do nothing but sit there. Like you can see me, I might look normal, but in my mind, so much was going on. So I was like, okay, that's when I started looking for help, and I started looking for doctors, but I couldn't afford it at the time. You know what I mean? And I didn't have health insurance. And I couldn't afford it, so I started to try to reach out to pastors and my pastors, people, members of the church, and I just felt like I wasn't getting through. You know what I mean? I didn't want to just speak to a regular psychologist,
right?
Because I felt like it was something deeper. I wanted to. It was spiritual.
God wanted a healing.
Yeah, I wanted a healing. I wanted a deliverance. I wanted God to do something.
Right.
So as I kept going, I was like, I started getting more depressed, and I was like, God, like, what's going on with me? What's going on? It caused me to lose jobs. It caused me to lose, to be homeless. It caused me so much stuff, to lose a lot. Like I said, I was in and out of school. At one point, I was on a high peak. I was in school. I was getting straight A's. I was doing good. I was focusing. I was studying. I was working. I was doing everything I was supposed. And in another minute, everything just dropped. Like my mind was completely feel like it was blank, or it was like something erased my mind, and I just would do everything. Like, nothing. I would be nothing.
And I remember you even telling me at one point, you would black out at times. Like, you wouldn't remember some of the things that would happen or what you would do or say sometimes.
And I wouldn't. It's God had to bring me back to those moments, and I'll be like, whoa. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but when I really realized, I was like, God, I'm done. I'm tired. Like, I started doing some really bad things. Like, really bad things. I almost got arrested. Things like that. Just attacking people, verbally, or, and I've been through stuff like that where I've been attacked too. So at one point, it was like, okay, God, this is not who I am. I know I'm a peaceful person. What is this? What is going on? So I got down on my knees, and that's when, around that time, that's when God told me to change my last name. That's harming me. And he told me that I'm dealing with multi-personality disorder. And then I didn't know what that was. And then I was like, I'm dealing. And so I was about to go look for a doctor. But then God was like, no, I'm going to heal you. And that's my greatest testimony right there, because God said, I don't want you to go to a doctor. I'm going to show you my glory, and I'm going to heal you. And right, I'm going to see you. Yeah, we're going to walk it out together. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay. And that was what, 2018 when he told me that. And I was like, but it happened right on time.
Yeah,
it happened right on time.
And that's how God is, though.
Right, because things have to be at the right place at the right time. He's a God of order, and he knows why it took that long. Mm-hmm. And while I was going through it, he still protected me, kept me safe. But it was the drawstring. He had to get other people involved. He had to get warriors, intercessors. He had to get other people involved in order.
Those divine
connections. I had to make those divine connections. So that's exactly what it was. So 2018, I changed my last name back to what it was originally, my birth last name, Valley. And then the healing started. I've had some really tough times, because we fight not against flesh and blood. We had some really, really war against the enemy. You know what I mean? So,
because not only did he come for you physically to try to take you out of here, like he came for you mentally and try to take you out of here. So, like you said, we fight not against flesh and blood. That was a battle on a whole nother round. So, thank God you had God with you. You had to line those people up and put them where they needed to be, so you can get what you need to get. Are you about to die? You might come up on an hour and oh, we're an hour and 18 in. I got a few more questions. Okay, do you think, in the back of your book, you read a little something, and so if you don't understand this question, you can go back to that. Do you think the false identity that you experienced and the lies that had you hidden had anything to do with your mental health issues?
Yes.
That's right.
I think it had a lot to do with my mental health issues, because I feel like when you're a child and you're traumatized, and the definition of multi-personality disorder, when you look it up, it's a disorder that is formed by trauma.
Trauma. Yeah.
Deep trauma. It could be sexual abuse, physical abuse, verbal abuse, but it came from a child.
Yeah, and a lot of
abused.
people don't want to hear that, especially abusers or people who raised us up. They
Right.
don't want to hear that because they're like, well, what trauma could you have possibly went through?
Right. What trauma could you have possibly went through? And it's like, you know, as a little child being sexually abused, being verbally abused, being physically abused, you have to try to form a shell, or you try to form some kind of protective barrier in order for you to heal. And
because you have to be one way here and you have to be another way there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you kind of have to.
You know, when I'm all by myself, I know that I can be free. I know that I can. But when I'm around other people, it's like I have to put a guard on, and that carried me through the time I was an adult, and it got my. And it's like I said, it took my focus away from my school. I wasn't the same girl, you know, making honor roll in school anymore until I turned 12 again. Until, you know, for some reason the what's it called? The attention got off of me. So it was kind of like, okay. But as I got older, when I wanted to grow up and mature and do my own thing, then it's like when I'm trying to actually succeed and do something with my life, every time I took 2 steps forward, I took 10 steps backwards. There was something that I had to cut from. I had to let go of, something that I had to divide myself, separate myself from.
Soul ties.
Yeah, soul ties. And I wasn't with the right soul tie. I wasn't with the right. I wasn't tied to the right person, connected to the right person spiritually. You know, my head of household wasn't good. The head, you know, of the house, my covering wasn't.
We spoke a little bit about that.
We did. We spoke about the covering because when you're a child or when you're a parent and you have a family, that God sets up the structure. It's God, you know, the husband, the wife, and the children. If God is there, you know, it's just if something's messed up there, it's gonna mess up the
connection
children.
between God and the head.
Right.
Yeah.
If that's messed up, then that's gonna mess up the children as well. So that's another thing. And then my last name had gotten changed and all that stuff. And
so that did play a part.
That played a huge part. That completely changed my identity. There's a part in my book when I talk about it when my last name got changed, and I completely lost who I was. I didn't know who I was anymore. And that's what really hid me. The true Esther got hidden, and this other person had to come out. This other identity had to come out.
Right.
So I had to give that back, that other identity, and take Esther out.
Gotcha.
You know, I still wanted to be who I was, because when I left home, it was for me to be free,
because
for me to be
you were comfortable
myself.
with that personality.
I had no choice.
It protected you all this time.
It had,
Yeah.
and it made it my shield. It made it my covering. I made it that, and I had to. And you know, when you start growing up with something on top of you or with that shield, you get used to it. You definitely. But then at one point, I got tired of it. I got tired of that false identity.
Around.
Right. So I just wanted to break free from it, because I feel like the more that I kept going with it, the more that my identity was being taken away, and the more, not just my identity, but things didn't change. Even with the protective gear up, I was just like,
it wasn't a God.
Yeah.
You know, Christ says, my burden is like my yoke.
Right. Yes.
So that started to become burdensome to you.
Right.
Yeah.
And I felt like at this point, I was like, I'm still trying to be what you want me to be, but yet I'm still getting attacked, and I'm still getting abused, or I'm still, you know, you're still disrespecting me, or you're still being who you are. So I'm just like, you know, hey, okay, but
it's time to put this down.
Yeah, it's time for me to put this down. So now it's
not
like,
serving you.
Right, it's not serving me well anymore. So it's like, okay, but then when you try to pick up yourself, but there's something always tugging you back, you know what I mean? And no more shackles, no more chains. God, you know, he's breaking the chains, he's breaking the shackles. I'm free, you know, who the Son sets free is free indeed.
Right.
And that's in spiritual terms, when he frees your soul from the world.
Truth and spirit.
Everything.
Because that had you down in the flesh as well.
It had me bound in the flesh, and had me bound in the spiritual realm. And even when I changed, you know, got out of the world, and I crossed that bridge into being with the Lord, then it still was affecting me, you know, even with the changing my life around, or being who God created me to be, it was still affecting me. And God put his foot down and he said no more. You know what I mean? The time was now. The time was now, like he said.
I mean, but when you think about God as being the farmer, and he had to possibly graft you back into the living vine. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to be comfortable. That's not going to feel good, but the fact that you got grafted back in, the fact that God had grace and mercy and favor over your life all this time, nothing but God to help you get through that. That's amazing. I know we talked about this a little bit ago. You said that you didn't go to a doctor. Have you ever taken any medication for your mental illness?
No.
Do you think you ever will?
No.
As a parent and caregiver, I ask certain questions. Some people will be like, well, you ask too many questions, but I just gotta know.
That's fine. That's good. I need you to know. Because as a parent, as a caregiver, because it's about them that's coming up.
Yeah. What should parents look for as signs of abuse in their children? I remember you said the behavior thing. That's a major one for me.
Behavior. Of course, talk to them all the time, because my other thing is you don't expect your child to be abused. You don't expect your child to come home and tell you, mommy. Some children,
unless you've been through abuse yourself.
Unless if you've been through abuse and you're looking for the signs and you're being cautious. Don't be paranoid. Pray about it. Pray about it. Pray about your children. Pray for your children.
Pray about everything.
Pray about everything. And he said, come to him with prayer and supplication. Pray about everything. But some of the signs I feel as though, especially if you're a parent that hasn't experienced abuse or haven't had that kind of environment, what I would say. It did die. Oh, that sucks.
Man.
It's okay.
You guys are watching on YouTube. And she was like, oh my goodness.
Let me go get my charger.
Okay, another short intermission, you guys. We're trying to get Facebook back. We seem like we had a few rules over there. Oh, and we have a plug back here. So you guys, we are in it to win today with Miss Dina Valley. Okay, I do have a brush in hand somewhere. And I'm looking for it, honey, because this has got to go. So you guys can check out her book, June 1st. Queen God Has Vindicated. It will be in bookstores near you, ebook, wherever you need to find it. And make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Make sure that make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share with parents, share with men, share with our other melanated brothers and sisters.